Are you feeling stuck and disempowered in your process of hiring a coach? Maybe a little desperate to find the quote perfect person who will solve it all. Or maybe you deeply desire to hire a coach, but you know so many incredible coaches that it feels almost impossible to choose just one to work with. There are moments that we all find ourselves in these places, spinning in our thoughts, desiring to ground in before making a decision. And still, there may be this pull to look outside of ourselves to know what our decision ought to be. Yes, I have felt this looking outward for what already lies within me. There's a divine richness to today's episode where we go deep into exploring the process, how you may sovereignly make your own choice and no longer give away your power. I give you some fun and dynamic tips and possibilities for you to explore for yourself as you find your grounded way of finding an aligned coach to hire. There are so many extraordinary coaches out there, but you are truly the only one who knows who meets your soul to soul right now. So keep listening, and don't forget you can always come back and listen again with your journal and pen to take some notes on the pieces that light your soul on fire. Welcome to the Devoted Way podcast, all about magic and miracles with me, Sora Schilling. It's time to hone in on your intuition, become artful, respectful, and nuanced with your relationship with energy, and live life based on your design. Your unique blueprint encoded with stardust from the ethereal realm and blood from those that have come before you. You know what to do and how to be, so trust in yourself. Are you looking to hire a coach and you are in that space of feeling incredibly confused as to who to turn to? Maybe you have certain particular desires of shifting a habit or a way that you're approaching life, or possibly you're realizing that there is some support you're needing and you don't even know what kind of support you're looking for. And so often that means it's 11 o'clock at night and you're Google searching random words, trying to figure out what it is that you need. You're also scrolling through Instagram and looking at these incredible people that you are connected to who are coaches, and you're reading through their bios or looking at their feed, wondering if this is the person that is going to help you. So I've got some tips for you. So the first is, if you're in that phase, then I invite you to actually back away from our friendly Google and back away from Instagram, or even signing up for everyone's free thing. Do you notice you do that as well? You spend about a week signing up for every single free opt-in that is available, and then you kind of look at it, but then you don't really, and then you forget who this person is that's randomly in your inbox, and you just keep them because you're feeling a little bad because you're not quite sure why they're even there, but you don't even look at their email because you have no idea who this person is. And then probably about 2 months in, when you are possibly in your luteal phase where you're in organization mode, you're going to go into an unsubscribe frenzy and you unsubscribe. So I share all of this because what I find that happens from a personal standpoint is I am desperately seeking for support and looking for someone to save me in that moment in time. And I go into a little bit of a spiral. So my invitation is to have you pause. So if you are in that phase, I'm going to go through different phases, but if you're in that phase, go ahead and take a moment and pause with me. You can even pause the recording for a moment. And I invite you to close your eyes, as long as you're not driving and listening to me at the same time. If you are, then keep your eyes open, and we are simply going to trust that whatever comes through while you are aware of your scenario and your situation and where you are at. So take a moment and pause. In that pause, notice how you are feeling. And I invite you to get really honest about your feelings, your frustrations, and ultimately your fears. I find when I'm in a frenzy and looking outside myself, looking for support, there's often some sort of fear or confusion that lies within me that I actually do not want to take a look at. Now go ahead and voice it aloud. Name the feeling and the emotion. And then go ahead and notice what is the story that resides below the surface that's causing so much confusion or angst or desperation or need of a solution. Great. Once you've done that, go ahead and write it down. And then I invite you, whether it's right now or a little later, go for a walk and celebrate that you took a moment to do the good, hard work, which was to actually take a moment and address what was happening internally inside of yourself. I then invite you to possibly do some sort of small little sacred act. You can call it a ritual, but it doesn't have to be called that if that means all of a sudden it becomes this big performative thing. But maybe you take a walk and you go and you ask a tree if you can hug it. Or maybe you go to the beach and you lay a rose petal in and you throw that into the ocean. Or maybe you go to your garden and you just sit there for a moment. But you take time, an intentional act of communing with the earth, having a small sense of gratitude, but more importantly, connection and awe that you, the single soul and energetic being, is part of a whole. After doing so, what if you got curious and you called in some synchronistic messages? So maybe all of a sudden the next day you find an email in your inbox and it has a subject line that completely resonates with you. And so you click on it and you read it. Or maybe you feel called to go to your local bookstore and you peruse the aisles, and all of a sudden there's a book that speaks to you, and you open it up, and there is a page of poetry that resonates with you. As you do this, your mind begins to settle. Rather than trying so hard to resolve a situation, your mind now has space to get curious. And from that time period is when you can then allow yourself to do some research. Because you now know what your fear is. You now know what's happening inside of you. So you can get clear around what kind of person may support you. What is their personality like? How do they show up as a coach? How do you enjoy being coached? Right? Maybe you are in need of someone who you can be really tender with and they can love you up. Or maybe you currently need someone who provides you with fierce love and a deep sense of accountability. Or maybe you're in need of someone who's actually going to tell you, here are the 5 steps you need to do so that you can get your marketing back on track. Or maybe you need someone who helps you in the energetic world to help you be even more self-aware so that you take your own aligned action that you can deserve yourself because you have self-agency. But now you get to feel into what it is that you want, how it is that you desire to be coached. And then you can look for a coach and do a little shopping around, do a little interviewing to see what soul actually meets your soul that sparks some sort of magical connection that allows for you to begin your transformative process. Once that happens, then yes, you may go ahead and look at people's content, or maybe you go and you feel the call to show up to one of their events, right? So For some of you, it's not about this longing or this sense of, oh, MG, I need a lot of help. But maybe you're simply in a space of, I feel like in the near future, there is someone here to support me. So you're not in a place of desperation or a place of needing to be fixed. You're actually in a place of a new chapter in your life and you're just feeling it. In which case, this is where magic occurs. Allow the synchronicities, allow yourself to feel your body and notice your yeses. And this is how you might all of a sudden experience someone's mini 5-day challenge. Or often this is when folks join devoted circle training with me for 3 days and they're like, I don't know, but I just felt a yes. And I've never even seen you before. You're brand new to my awareness, right? It's because there's something in you that you are ready for the next journey. In which case, follow that intuitive hit, join some sort of experience, and then courageously say yes to exploring what this may look like and feel like with you and this particular coach. Now, when you're on that coaching discovery call, for example, you're in exploration, I invite you to, before you go onto that call, to clear any doubts that you have that you don't know how to make this choice yourself. Do not hand over your power to anyone, including the person that is on the other side of that call. Also, begin to notice what fears you have. Maybe you're afraid that they're going to share a price that is way more than you can currently afford in your budget. Or maybe you're going to feel as if you need them and be swept away by their charisma and their ability to sell their incredible program. You get to pause. You get to say, thank you so much. I need time to feel this. You get to say, oh my gosh, I'm a full-bodied yes. I choose now. No one else gets to decipher or discern what that looks like and feels like but you. So when you get on that call, go ahead and feel your coach. This is an interview where you get to see if this person is for you, just as that coach gets to feel into whether or not you are aligned for them. It's a mutual respect, a respectful space where you get to explore. In this place, you get to share what your challenges are. And my invitation is to do it sovereignly. You're not here to dump anything on them. You're not here to see how much they could help you. You're not here to take away all of their advice and feel like you've had enough. If you're there to look for a coach, then be looking for something that's more long-term, right? Instead of going on a discovery call and saying, I'm here just to get the 3 steps. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to keep doing that with 10 coaches for the next month on their discovery call. That doesn't feel so good. So be really clear you're looking for someone that you are on a journey with for a little bit more than just one session. And is this person for them based on how they show up and what they share and how you show up and how you share? If you notice as soon as you enter the space that you are feeling like you are taking on the role of being a victim and you're just dumping everything on them, and then you go and have another call with someone else and you realize that experience didn't happen at all, then I would be curious to know your relationship with both coaches. And maybe from that, you know which coach is for you next. Maybe it's the one that showed up and you immediately turned into your sovereign self. I would say that coach has some magic for you. So once that happens, you get to decide. I invite you not to take too long because your ego is going to get involved and your ego has a brilliant way of telling you why something isn't for you, right? So it's more about getting on the call, feel it, notice your full-bodied yes, whatever that feels like and however that shows up for you. If based on your own internal design, you need a little bit of time, do it. If you know from your internal design that that's not the case and it's just going to prevent you from the growth, then be really mindful of that and say your yes. What I do know to be true is that when I hire a coach, I'm usually 1, never ready. 2, I never have enough money for it. 3, I have all the excuses why this is not for me at this time. 4, I typically create some sort of dramatic experience in my life that makes me feel like I can't do this. Since I know all four things happen whenever there's a coach that's aligned for me, that I'm ready to take the next step, I see those as signs, not signs that I'm not supposed to, but actually signs that this is really, really the thing for me because I've just co-created all of those things. That recipe to me means it's a recipe for success. And so I say yes. I do the thing that is most scary. And then lastly, and most importantly, I show up. If I hire a coach, I'm investing in myself that I'm going to show up for me and my coach and the co-creation that happens. So that's how I pick a coach. How do you pick a coach, and how may this serve you for the next time you're looking for a coach? Now, would I love for that next coach to be me? Absolutely, but it doesn't have to be. It never has to be the case. My prayer is that you find the person, the council members of people, coaches, mentors, teachers, spiritual guides that are here to support you on your evolution that is aligned with your soul's essence. It is a blessing to serve you. My deepest desire is to bring nourishment to your soul, activate and enliven your inner landscape, and find inspiration through the sacred stories of others and myself so we remember we are collectively woven. If you would like to learn more about mysticism, spiritual devotion, magic and intuition, sacred leadership, business practices, and devoted energy coaching, please make sure you subscribe to Devoted Way Podcast. As I continue to serve, may I humbly ask for a sacred exchange. I would be so appreciative if you would write a love note, otherwise known as a review. Share the episode with your friends and community members, and engage with me on Instagram at Devoted Way. If you have any questions you desire to be answered on Devoted Way Podcast, please head over to devotedway.com and send me an email. Stay sacred and discover your path and join the Devoted Way. May magic and miracles occur in your life every day as you co-create a synchronistic new world with the Great Mother. Until next time, this is Sora Schilling.